Once again, hello and Baha'i greeting to all the people of the planet, wherever you are. This would be the continuations of the last recording we had about the matter of the evolution. And as I promised, we'll continue the discussion into the misconceptions of the religious groups and even scientific people about the religions and the issues that are in the holy books of God. Essentially, in 19th century, mid 18th century, as the science really started to flourish, it seems at that time religion, let's say namely Christianity and Islam, they've taken a lot of step backwards, and they failed to come alongside of the science and interpret or accept religious discoveries, the scientific discoveries, and it just simply they try to oppose it. And as a result, opposing this idea of the evolution, as we explained it last time, creationism came about. These were the people, religious people, that they're trying to use the science basically to beat the scientific method, to just deny a lot of scientific progresses that were made, especially in the area of the evolution. Some of them, however, they took really a reactionist a step backward, and we call them fundamentalism. This fundamentalist groups, especially among the Christianities, they came up with a lot of strange ideas. I'm going to read some of them that in an essay that I wrote myself a few years ago. But I have to mention this as well, is just basically religion as it was explained by the Christians and Muslims. It was an explanation for the Romans. It's like you're taking an adult into a school trying to him alphabets. It was not in proportion. These explanations, it was not absolutely convincing for a man of 18th century such as Darwin. He would not take these things as an answer. He needed a different answer, and that was the real cause of upheaval. When the religious groups, or those who like the religion, they see the explanation is not good, they just let it go, and that basically causes the revolution, cultural revolution that happened. So I'm going to read a couple of pages about the fundamentalism that I wrote myself. A fundamentalist opposes the evolution by believing in sudden appearance of the species as a complete form with no explanation as how the process has taken place. He hands over the whole question to the holy books and divine creator. They go on taking the whole mythological aspects of the religious book quite literally. For instance, they maintain that the universe has been created in 6 days, as hell and heaven are actual places, and Adam and Eve are real individuals that have been cast out of heaven. deceived by the real Satan. This is one account that I quote from that book, Evolution Deceit, from page 178. It quotes, "In 1910, the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church adopted a creed of 5 fundamentals: inspiration and infallibility of the Scriptures. Number 2, deity of Christ, including virgin birth. Number 3, substitutionary atonement of Christ's death. And the 4th one was the literal resurrection of Christ from death. And the 5th, the literal return of Christ and the second coming." To these, the Reverend Jerry Falwell adds that the modern fundamentalists also believe in a literal heaven and hell, the depravity of mankind, the importance of soul-winning evangelism, the Holy Spirit, and the existence of Satan. This is a quotation from this book by the fundamentalists, and that's what they were. There's some astonishing remark from these people. It's not bad to hear a couple of them. In 1920, some fundamentalists believed the earth is flat, opposing the science as far as back as the ancient Greek. Here is the statement of Wilbur Glenn Voliva, the head of the Catholic Church. Quote, "The idea of a sun millions of miles in diameter and 91 million miles away is silly. The sun is only 32 miles across and not more than 3,000 miles from the earth. It stands to reason it must be so. God made the sun to light the earth, and therefore must have placed it close to the task it was designed to do. What would you think of a man who built a house in Zion and put the lamp to light it in Kenosha, Wisconsin?" This is on page 168. This is what he says, that in Zion, which is Israel, and then they put the light in Wisconsin. To him, that would not make sense if you build a house in Israel and put a light in Wisconsin. He was thinking the scientific people, when they say sun is that far away, to him it would be that silly. So let's deal with some of this subject that this fundamentalist, I don't care, Muslims or Christians or whoever of the kind, trying to cling to the holy books such as Bible and Quran, and thinking that their concept is the true concept of what the religion is. One of them is this story of Adam and Eve. You all know, everyone knows, that it's the religious belief that mankind came from Adam, which is the male, and Eve, which would be the female. They were cast out of the heaven because whatever their story goes. Eve was deceived by the snake, made the fig. Muslim, they say differently. And that is the father and the mother of mankind. Baha'i belief opposes this and says that this is not only it is not the Baha'i idea, but also it's not a Muslim and even Christian idea. I'll refer to the Bible, Genesis chapter 5 verse 2. This is the quotations from the Bible. "Male and female created he them." He means God. God created male and female. "And blessed them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created." So according to the Bible, really, Adam is applied both to male and female. So, what is this a story of Eve to be a female? This is because the religion has been misunderstood. Religious books are not philosophical books, they're not scientific books, they're not a story book, they're not book of ethics. It's a book of its own. It is its own category, it has its own lexicon. You have to study it, it explains itself, but you have to be thorough with it in order to know. Just if you have to get part of it, is not really helpful. It's just more like nature itself. If you take the nature and just go to any part of nature, let's say some mushroom, flowers, earth, eat it, peck it and eat it. Will you die? You may die. So some part of it is medicine, some part of it is poison. The same is with the holy books, or this book of the past especially, such as Quran and Bible. People have to be very careful when they're dealing with them. Baha'i faith maintains Adam and Eve as just like the two figurehead which is always in the religion. The Baha'i faith, we call them Bab and Baha'u'llah. In Islam it is called Muhammad and Ali. In Christianity we call them Christ and John the Baptist, or Moses and Aaron. And so in the religion of Adam, which was the first prophet, not the first man according to Baha'i faith, Eve is the second person, that is the first one who believed in Adam. Just like John the Baptist who believed in Christ, or Ali who believed in Muhammad. So Adam and Eve is not a reference to genders at all. In fact, in Islam, in the Shiites' books, not the Sunnis, but the Shiites, who are much richer in the divine writing of the Shiites, clearly the Shiites' Imam refers to Adams. They're not saying there's just one Adam. There have been more Adams even before that Adam. And is clearly known as one of the prophets of God, not the first man. Why would the first man God creates be a prophet if there's no followers? And if he's a prophet, then there must have been people before that. Just one of them. The second big misconception is about these 6 days. I was just listening to Stephen Hawking, such a fantastic individual. And in one of his books I was reading long ago, was mentioning it's about the Ice Age. This date of the Bible is about the last Ice Age and whatnot. And he was trying to say this 6,000 years is a reference to the Ice Age, probably 10,000 years ago, but it's close to 6,000. Which is not at all the story like that. Baha'i faith, again, Baha'u'llah, as I told you, just like Darwin and Karl Marx and Mendel, they brought the science of the natural science. So Baha'u'llah brought the divine knowledge, which is the Baha'i faith, explaining this kind of thing so people don't go astray from the fact. So if one would have read these things, if Darwin